Don't that look like these look like a hijab? Yeah, this ain't happening. I'm only wearing it because I don't want it to fall off while I'm running. See, it falls off. Oh, you see how to Snapchat? Hey, look, y'all, I'm about to go. We about to go run.
Running. Oh, boy. Stuff tonight.
We at the track.
I let you tell them stuff tonight. Yeah, y'all know what it is. Work is never done. Yeah. Always working.
Hey, y'all gonna blow her shit up and tell her I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I want you, I want you, I want you. I don't care what you niggas or what you bitches talk about. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get my back. Yeah, the whole go to war behind my shit, my little shit.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Chrisean Rock wakes up, looks at the internet already on fire, and decides, you know what this needs? More chaos. And just like that, boom, new boyfriend revealed. No warning, no soft launch, just straight up here's my man energy like she's dropping a surprise album at midnight. But wait, because the real plot twist, HoodTroph Bino did not stay quiet. Oh no, he came through with a response that had the internet clutching their phones like it was breaking news. And suddenly, what started as a simple new relationship reveal turned into a full-blown drama explosion that felt like a Zeus Network finale mixed with a WWE betrayal storyline. Because let's be real, the timing is insane. You don't just casually go public with a new boyfriend when your name is already surrounded by drama, tension, and non-stop headlines. That's like throwing gasoline on a fire and acting surprised when it explodes. And explode it did. Fans were screaming, timelines were flooded, and everybody instantly turned into relationship detectives. People were digging, comparing, analyzing like their lives depended on it. When did this start? Was Bino blindsided? Is this real or just another chapter in the chaos? And Bino's response? Yeah, that didn't calm anything down. If anything, it made things messier. Because now it wasn't just about Chrisean moving on. It was about reactions, emotions, possible shade, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. The internet split into teams faster than a reality show elimination round. Some were cheering her on like this was her glow-up era. Others were side-eyeing the entire situation like, nah, something about this ain't adding up. But here's the part nobody saw coming. Because behind the reveal, behind the reaction, behind all the viral chaos, there's something else going on. Now let's rewind this entire situation, because this didn't just appear out of thin air like a random viral moment. This is the kind of chaos that builds slowly, quietly, behind the scenes while everyone is distracted by the surface-level drama. And if there's one thing about Chrisean Rock, it's that nothing in her life ever happens in a straight, predictable line. For a while now, fans have been watching her navigate relationships that feel less like romance and more like a reality show with no script and no ending. Emotional highs, public moments, tension, breakups, reconciliations. It's been a non-stop cycle that keeps people watching whether they want to or not. So when she suddenly goes public with a brand new boyfriend, people didn't just react. They paused, because the first question wasn't, who is he? It was, when did this even happen? And that's where the confusion started setting in. There was no gradual buildup, no subtle clues, no slow transition into a new chapter. It was like the story skipped a few episodes and dropped viewers straight into a new plotline. 1 minute there's no mention of this man, and the next minute he's right there, front and center, introduced like he's been part of the story all along. And of course, the internet did what it does best: investigate. People immediately started digging into Matt and Martinez like they were assigned a group project with a deadline. Photos were analyzed, timelines were questioned, interactions were replayed. Everyone wanted to understand how this new relationship fit into everything that had been happening recently. At the same time, HoodTroph Bino's name started trending alongside hers. And that's when things got even more interesting. Because now, this wasn't just about a new boyfriend, it was about what came before him. The history, the connection, the unresolved tension that people were still trying to make sense of. And when Bino finally responded, that's when the situation shifted from curiosity to full-blown drama, because his reaction didn't feel random. It felt layered. It felt like there was emotion behind it, whether direct or indirect. And fans picked up on that instantly. People weren't just reading what he said. They were reading between the lines, trying to decode the real message behind the response. Some fans took his side immediately, saying he had every right to react. Others dismissed it, claiming Chrisean is free to move on and doesn't owe anyone an explanation. And just like that, the internet split into two completely different narratives. One side saw a woman starting fresh. The other saw a situation that felt way too sudden to be simple. And the timing? Yeah, the timing made everything worse, because let's not forget, all of this is happening while her name is already circulating for other reasons. Attention is high, people are watching closely, and suddenly, there's a new relationship reveal paired with a reaction from someone tied to her past. That's not just coincidence. That's the kind of setup that gets people talking, and talk they did. Comment sections turned into debates. Videos started popping up breaking down every angle. People were connecting dots that may or may not even exist. But in a situation like this, perception becomes reality real quick. Meanwhile, Mathin Martinez himself became a whole topic of discussion. Not just as the new boyfriend, but as a person people were trying to understand. Who is he? Where did he come from? And how did he end up stepping into a situation this public, this messy, and this heavily watched? Because let's be honest, stepping into Chrisean's world is not for the weak, and fans were already questioning whether he understood what he was walking into. Some people supported the relationship, saying she deserves peace and happiness. Others were skeptical, pointing out how fast everything seemed to move. And then there were those who believed this wasn't just about emotions at all, that there was something strategic behind the timing. And that's where the deeper theories started forming, because when something feels this sudden, this perfectly placed in the middle of ongoing attention, people start asking bigger questions. Not just what is happening, but why is it happening right now? Is this about moving on? Is this about controlling the narrative? Or is this part of something bigger that hasn't fully revealed itself yet? At the same time, the energy surrounding the situation kept building. Every post, every reaction, every subtle move added another layer to the story. It became less about individual moments and more about the overall pattern people were starting to notice. And once people start looking for patterns, they don't stop. Because now, it wasn't just about watching what happens next. It was about predicting it. And the predictions? Yeah, they were all over the place. Some believed this was just the beginning of a new chapter that would eventually calm down. Others were convinced this was the setup for something even more chaotic. And honestly, both possibilities felt equally likely, because in a situation this unpredictable, anything can happen, and just when it felt like the story couldn't get any more intense, it did. Because what happens next doesn't just add more drama. It takes everything people think they understand. And just like that, the situation didn't just stay messy. It completely spiraled into something that felt way bigger than a simple relationship reveal. The moment HoodTroph Bino broke his silence, it was like someone pressed a chaos button and the entire internet responded at the same time. Everything started moving fast, reactions overlapping, opinions clashing, and suddenly this wasn't just drama. It was a full-blown spectacle. Now let's really talk about Bino's response, because it wasn't just words. It was the energy behind it that had people locked in. It didn't come off calm or neutral. It felt layered, almost like there was more being said between the lines than what was actually posted. And that's what made fans go crazy, because when something feels indirect, people start digging deeper to find the real meaning. Within minutes, timelines were flooded like a dam had just broken. Screenshots, reposts, slowed down clips, people highlighting certain phrases like they were decoding a secret message. It turned into a digital investigation where everyone suddenly felt like they had a piece of the puzzle. And the craziest part, none of those pieces fully matched up. Then the memes started rolling in, and honestly, the internet showed no mercy. Some people turned the situation into a WWE storyline, labeling Bino as the ex refusing to exit the ring while calling Matin Martinez the new challenger entering mid-match. Others compared it to reality shows where a new character appears right before the finale just to shake everything up. But while people were laughing and joking, there was also a serious side building underneath it. Because for every funny post, there were 10 comments questioning what was really going on. People started pointing out little details, moments that didn't feel completely natural, interactions that seemed slightly off. And suddenly, the narrative wasn't as simple as it looked at first. Some clips showed genuine connection, smiles, comfort, even a sense of calm between Chrisean and Matin. But then other moments told a different story, where the vibe felt rushed or awkward, like something wasn't fully settled behind the scenes. And that contrast is what kept the conversation alive, because nobody could agree on what was real and what wasn't. Meanwhile, Bino didn't just disappear after his response. If anything, his presence became even more noticeable. Every move he made after that was watched closely, whether it was a post, a caption, or even something as small as a like. People were tracking everything, connecting dots that may or may not have been there. But in a situation like this, perception becomes powerful, and then came the outside voices, the influencers and public figures who started adding their own reactions into the mix. Some were subtle, dropping vague captions like "timing says everything," while others leaned into the drama with comments that clearly hinted at something deeper. Even without names being mentioned, the internet knew exactly what they were referring to. At this point, the fanbase wasn't just divided. It was fully split into sides that refused to agree. One group stood firmly behind Chrisean, saying she deserves happiness and the freedom to move on however she wants. The other group questioned everything, saying the timing felt off, the energy felt strange, and the whole situation didn't sit right. And right in the middle of that chaos was confusion. Because the more people talked, the less clear things became. It was like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces kept changing shape every time you looked at them. Every new post added more questions instead of answers. And every reaction made the situation feel even more complicated. Matin Martinez, who started as just the new boyfriend, quickly became a central figure in the entire story. People weren't just curious about him anymore, they were investigating him, his background, his connection to Chrisean, the timing of everything. It all became part of the conversation whether he intended it or not. Because let's be real, stepping into a situation this public, this intense, and this heavily watched is not something that goes unnoticed. And the fact that it happened at this exact moment made people even more suspicious. It wasn't just about who he was, it was about why he appeared when he did. At the same time, the narrative around Chrisean kept shifting. It went from excitement to curiosity, from curiosity to skepticism, and from skepticism to full-on analysis. People weren't just reacting anymore. They were trying to understand her decisions, her timing, and what all of this meant for her overall story. And once that level of attention kicks in, every move becomes significant. A post isn't just a post anymore, it's a message. An interaction isn't just an interaction, it's a clue. Everything gets interpreted, everything gets discussed, and nothing goes unnoticed. Then just when it felt like the situation had reached its peak, something else happened. New clips surfaced, new angles appeared, and suddenly the story people thought they understood didn't feel complete anymore. Certain details didn't line up, certain moments felt too quick, and others felt too perfectly placed. Fans started going back, rewatching everything, connecting dots they had missed before. And the more they looked, the more inconsistencies they noticed. It wasn't enough to confirm anything, but it was enough to create doubt. And once doubt enters the conversation, it spreads fast. Now the focus shifted again, from what was happening to what might be hidden. Because when something doesn't fully add up, people don't just accept it, they question it. And in a situation this chaotic, those questions only make things more intense. So now we're left in a moment where nothing feels certain. The relationship, the reactions, the timing, it all feels like part of a bigger story that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And the closer we get to the next development, the more it feels like something major is about to happen. Because if this situation has shown us anything, it's that the chaos isn't slowing down, and just when everyone thought the chaos had reached its absolute peak, reality stepped in and somehow made everything even more confusing. Because instead of giving people answers, the aftermath created more questions, more tension, and a completely different energy that nobody was prepared for. What looked like a clear storyline before suddenly felt messy, layered, and impossible to fully understand. The moment things started settling, people expected clarity, but that's not what they got. Instead, every new appearance, every post, every small interaction from Chrisean felt like it carried double meaning. If she looked happy, people questioned if it was genuine. If she looked serious, people assumed something was wrong behind the scenes. And when Madhin Martinez was around, the internet went into full analysis mode again. Every glance, every interaction, every second they appeared together became something people tried to decode. It wasn't just watching anymore, it was studying. Fans were trying to figure out if this relationship was real, rushed, or something else entirely. But here's where things started getting deeper, because the relationship itself slowly turned into a mystery. What started as a bold and confident reveal now felt like something people couldn't quite define. Some moments made it look strong and genuine, while others felt uncertain, like there were pieces missing from the full story, and that uncertainty didn't stay quiet for long. It grew louder with every passing day, because the more people watched, the more they noticed small details that didn't fully match up. Nothing major, nothing obvious, but enough to make people pause and question what they were seeing. At the same time, the emotional fallout started becoming more visible. Behind all the viral posts and memes, there were real reactions happening. Fans who had supported Chrisean for a long time began stepping back, not necessarily turning against her, but questioning her decisions and wondering where this situation was heading. On the other hand, there were those who stood by her even stronger, defending her choices, supporting her moves, and pushing back against the criticism. And just like that, the divide between fans became even more intense. It wasn't just opinions anymore, it was completely different perspectives on the same situation. Meanwhile, HoodTroph Bino's presence still lingered in the background. Even if he wasn't directly involved in every moment, his earlier response kept echoing through the conversation, and people continued to connect his reaction to everything that followed. It was like his words had created a ripple effect that didn't just fade away, and then came the shifting alliances, which nobody really expected. People who were once vocal suddenly went silent, while others who stayed quiet before began speaking out. New voices entered the conversation, adding their own takes, their own interpretations, and sometimes even more confusion. It became clear that this situation wasn't just about Chrisean anymore. It was affecting everyone connected to her, directly or indirectly. In a story this public, nobody stays untouched. And once you're part of it, your actions or silence both get noticed. At the same time, the original focus, the moment that started this phase of chaos, began to fade into the background. What should have been the main event no longer felt like the center of attention. Instead, everything around it took over, turning the entire situation into something much bigger than it was supposed to be. But then something subtle happened. Something that didn't make immediate headlines but changed the way people saw everything. New details started surfacing, small inconsistencies that didn't match the narrative everyone had been following. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but it was enough to shift the conversation. Fans started revisiting everything, going back through clips, posts, and timelines, looking at things from a different perspective. And what they found wasn't clear answers, but more questions. Because certain moments felt rushed, others felt too perfectly timed, and that combination created doubt. And once doubt enters a situation like this, it doesn't stay small. It spreads, it grows, and it changes how people interpret everything. What once looked genuine starts to feel uncertain. What once felt clear starts to feel complicated. And suddenly, nothing is as straightforward as it seemed. Now the conversation wasn't just about what happened, it was about what might have been missed. Because when something feels incomplete, people don't just accept it, they search for what's missing. And in a situation already this chaotic, that kind of search only adds more intensity. So now we're left with a story that doesn't have a clean ending. A relationship that still feels like a question mark. A reaction that continues to echo through every new development. And a public narrative that keeps shifting with every new detail that comes out. But the most interesting part of all of this is that it doesn't feel finished. It feels like a setup. Because situations like this don't just end quietly. They evolve, they reveal new layers, and they keep unfolding when people least expect it. And based on everything we've seen so far, it's clear that there's more to this story than what's already been shown. And if there's one thing this entire situation has proven, it's that what we see on the surface is only part of the story. The rest? Now listen. If your head is spinning trying to keep up with all of this chaos, don't worry. You're not the only one. Because what we just witnessed, this wasn't just drama. This was a full-blown cinematic storyline with plot twists, unexpected turns, and enough confusion to keep the internet talking for days. One minute it's a new boyfriend reveal. The next minute it's reactions, tension, and questions nobody can fully answer. So go ahead and smash that like button like it owes you money. Because clearly this story just took us on a ride with no brakes. And don't tap it gently either. Hit it with the same energy the internet had when Bino dropped that response and turned everything upside down. Now I need you in those comments, because this is where things get interesting. Tell me what you really think. Is this genuine love or perfectly timed chaos? Was Bino's reaction justified, or did it just add more fuel to an already burning situation? And what about Madhin? Is he really here for the long run, or just another chapter in a story that keeps evolving?